Greetings, I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today, being a typical Wednesday, shall contain one portion of Ask a Herbert Erpaderp. Do not ingest the Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, it contains no nutritional value and will cause internal bleeding. I don't think I have anything more to add to that, so let's get to the questions. From Discord we have the traditional KV2 turret question from Andrew SW. He asks, if you could put a KV2 turret, would you? I assume you mean put as in shot put. If I had that kind of massive strength, then yes, I totally would put a KV2 turret. I would probably win the Olympics with that. Ratto said if they would make an anime about the KV2, would you watch it? I'm not an anime fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I would check it out. It might be entertaining, or at the very least a bit silly, which I kind of like. Zeljako said, will you build and paint the Airfix Operation Market Garden diorama? I haven't got one, and I tried to Google for a specific market garden diorama from Airfix and didn't find anything. Is it a specific product that I'm just not seeing? I guess the answer is no, because I don't have one, but I would be interested in it, and I would hope it involved a Cromwell. The Big Boy said, if you couldn't build models or play video games, what would you upload on your YouTube channel? I guess it depends. If those things were taken away from me, it would probably be really boring, or more likely there would probably be no videos at all because my mental state just wouldn't allow for it. If I stopped wanting to do games and models of my own volition, or I was just not interested in those things, I think I might like to try some comedy sketches. I've always been inspired by the likes of Loading Ready Run. I just don't have a group that I can reliably get together to make videos like that with, and I don't really have many good ideas. I feel like that sort of thing is best if you have a group of people with different strengths that you can work together with. The kind of people that you have a good bond and chemistry with, not just randos. It's something I would still be interested in doing, just not enough to put work into finding people to work with, and a lot of the people that I would like to work with just don't have the time or inclination. I might also make videos relating to music. I've considered starting to film and edit live gig videos for local bands. Needs more setup and effort than I'm really willing to put into it at the moment though. Also, I would want at least 2 decent cameras, which is quite an investment. Interesting question though, I thought about it quite a bit. Ferrum Tempestus said, did you find the guy selling 15mm scale Plastic Soldier Company tanks and infantry for $8 at QMHE? I did not, and now that I know about it, I really wish that I had. That's an awesome price. Maybe by the time I had got there, he'd sold them all. I arrived a little bit before 2 PM on the Sunday. I'm just going to tell myself that's the case anyway. That way I don't have to feel stupid for missing it. Next time, I think I will go earlier and pay more attention to the prices of things. I did pick up some Scale 75 paints to try out, but that's all I bought. Speaking of the Queensland Model Hobbies Expo, on that video from the other week, Rubsalot said, I can't help wondering why you didn't put some of your models in the competition or on display. The Battle Beetle, for example, could have been a contender. I suspect you may have your reasons, but I'd think next year it would be fab to see your stuff on show, and it would be a great meet and greet chance for your local fans. The main reason was that I just forgot. I knew about the show, I had seen something about it months ago, and then promptly forgot. I was reminded on the Saturday, I think. It might have been the Friday. I just didn't have the energy to go on the Saturday, so I went on the Sunday afternoon. Didn't really leave a lot of time to think about entering any models for competition or display. Other less pressing reasons are I'm not very competitive, and like a lot of creative people, I have what I hear described as imposter syndrome, where you think the things you do suck in spite of evidence to the contrary. I do plan to remember and enter something next year though. I don't know what. Maybe the Battle Beetle, maybe something else. Time will tell. It never occurred to me that it might be a meet and greet opportunity, but that's true enough too. Kuro the Avenger said, the perfect places to go to destroy your faith in your own modelling skills. Didn't expect to see any 40k. The Emperor is pleased, however. It's pretty easy to look at it that way. I try not to. We shouldn't really be basing our own self-esteem, I guess is the right word, on the results of others. I mean, you see a really well-painted model and you think, well, that's so much better than what I can do, or at least that's what I do. But the reality is that person probably feels the same way when they see other really good work. I think it's important to remember even the best started somewhere, just like everybody else. And being good at painting isn't just some natural gift that people have, it's a skill that takes time and work to develop. I try to see it as an inspiration rather than discouragement. Personally, I don't really see a reason to be competitive in a hobby, so it's not really a me versus them thing. I don't need to be better than whoever, but I do want to learn. Instead of letting it be a bit of a negative, these sort of things might be a good opportunity to learn from other modelers. Even if you can't speak to whoever did the work, you can still learn by observing. I'm not sure I've put that quite as eloquently as I would like. I was also surprised to see 40k and the wide variety of stuff that was there. I really expected it to be mostly tanks and cars. On the Warlord Wrecked House video from last Monday, the Bod76 said, "Too bad that this building is an old 1/72nd scale model which they recycled for bolt action." Google for 6113 World War II Bastogne December 1944 diorama set to check for yourself. I was pretty pissed they put this 1/72nd scale model in my bolt action starter package. I had no idea. I had assumed it was just a poor rescaling job, but I guess not. I'm not sure how much better scale-wise the ruined cottage they included in my starter set was, but I'm sure it's better than that. I still don't have a huge problem with it, it'll still work as a terrain piece, it's just a bit annoying to have this marketed in completely the wrong scale. I find that more annoying than my initial assumption of the piece simply being scaled wrong. I mean, I can totally see why they would do this from a financial standpoint. It's still pretty lame though. Michael Hess said, "I had similar issues with the building kit, and as someone who doesn't like filling gaps, I ended up covering them with some ivy crawling up the building. If you're interested to know, I filled the gap with white glue, painted on more glue in a reasonably ivy-ish pattern, then sprinkled on some mixed greens ground foam. Thanks to the gaps, my building is now very unique and gap-free." That's a really good way to deal with the gaps. I'm glad you told me, and I'm really tempted to try this myself now. On last week's Ask a Herbert Erpaderp, Gmias Briada said, "It's me again. My question for this episode is, are you ever planning on a face reveal? Best regards from Germany, Martin." By the way, your intro in German is, "Hallo, mein Name ist Herbert Erpaderp und willkommen zu..." I probably slaughtered that pretty bad. And doesn't willkommen zu mean welcome to? I normally say something like, "Today I am," which, according to Google Translate, is, "Heute bin ich." Either way, it's good to know. Also, I haven't slaughtered any languages for a while, so that's fun too. I have actually done a face reveal in one of the earlier Ask a Herbert Erpaderps. I'm not sure which one, maybe the first or second or third. I'm too lazy to go back and find out. Also, the outtakes patrons get to see generally also include a face cam, and I am planning to start streaming. In fact, today I did a test stream. Hopefully somebody besides my two friends saw it. I'll be using a face cam on the streams because that just seems like the thing to do, and I'm sure highlights from that will find their way onto YouTube too. So I guess the answer is yes? The Littlest Mig said, "What is the best World War II tank in your opinion, and what's your reasoning behind it?" I'm not a big fan of what is the best questions. What criteria do we use to define best? Most powerful weapon, highest speed, most successful in combat, most effective to mass produce? Which one do I think looks coolest? I don't think there really is an objective best tank of World War II. I could choose one I like the most, which is almost entirely for aesthetic reasons. Well, actually I'm too indecisive to pick one, but I can narrow it down to T-34-85, Tiger, Cromwell and KV-2. I think they all look pretty cool. M3 Miniatures said, "If you ever travel to the USA, specifically NY State, would you come to the shooting range with me?" Yeah, sure. That would probably be an interesting experience. I would especially like to go to a tank shooting range, assuming such a thing exists. I'm pretty sure it would. Ryan 2 said, "I have this Flames of War motor platoon of metal figures with some of the Bren gun barrel tips missing. Any suggestions for fixing this? I'm concerned as these were bought months back and I can't provide much info for customer service to be able to help." It might still be worth contacting customer service, but I guess it might depend on where you bought them from. Most of the time when I've had an issue with a model, I've bought it from the company's own store anyway, so maybe they have all my order info already, but I very rarely provide any info beyond the issues with the model itself. I don't worry about mentioning when and where I bought it unless asked. If you don't want to do that anyway, as somebody else commented, I would use some wire to make replacement barrels. I'm not sure of the exact diameter of the wire you would need, but I'm sure you could get something thin enough from a hobby shop. They normally have various sizes of brass rod and wire available. I guess the size of the wire you would use would depend on how accurately sized you want the new barrels to be. Alternately, you can find wire in crafting stores, and maybe places you would find florist supplies. I've got a bag of lengths of fine crafting wire I bought in the dollar store that I might use if I were to do something similar, and I think the intention for that product was to be used for making jewellery. You can find useful hobby things just about anywhere. You might need to get a very tiny drill bit too, and drill a hole for the replacement barrels rather than just gluing it straight onto the end of the gun. It might be a little bit fiddly, but it won't be impossible. Good luck. And with that, this week's Herbert Erpaderp asking is concluded. If you have any questions you would like me to answer next week, or any comments, suggestions, or nonsensical strings of text, leave them in the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to do things like subscribing here on YouTube and following me on social media. You could also watch me streaming on Twitch, which I intend to do more of. And if you really like what I do, you can always help support the channel over at patreon.com/HerbertErpaderp. That would be awesome. Check the links in the description for further information. I shall return soon, so until then, happy whatever it is you're doing, and thanks for watching. Farewell.